The mythical Route 66. Route 66 is one of the most recognized symbols in the United States. If you travel to the United States and want to know it from coast to coast, do not hesitate to get on your bicycle, car, or motorhome to enjoy one of the most exciting trips through this territory. During the journey, you'll be able to visit Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California, as well as a few charming abandoned villages to spectacular landscapes. Today, we'll be checking out the mythical Route 66. Before we begin, subscribe to this channel. Whilst you do so, ring the notification bell. You definitely want to know why this route is considered to be mythical. So, stay through to the end to find out how it all started. Surely you have heard of the well-known Route 66. But why is it so famous all over the world? Here we tell you its story and how it became known. Before the 20th century, the west coast of the United States was totally isolated from both the Midwest and the East Coast. Large mountain ranges made transportation and communication between the different states very difficult. It was some businessmen from Illinois and Oklahoma who thought it would be a good idea to connect both coasts of the United States with a highway, Route 66. Its construction began in 1926 and ended in 1938, 12 years later. The 4,000-kilometer highway began in Chicago on Lake Michigan and ended in Los Angeles. Its layout allowed for crossing the country at any time of the year. Faced with the increasing influx of motorcyclists, residents of all the towns through which the road passed saw a great business opportunity. For several years, all kinds of establishments did not stop opening: gas stations, bars, restaurants, markets, and many more. Why is it considered to be mythical? Did you notice the word mythical in the mythical Route 66? So what exactly is the story backing this up? In the 1930s, when much of America was plunged into the Great Depression, Route 66 became the Highway of Hope. Route 66 symbolized the renewed spirit of optimism that filled the country after the economic catastrophe and global war. Often called the Main Street of America, it connected a remote and underpopulated region with Chicago and Los Angeles, the two vital 20th century cities. Millions of Americans crossed the entire country into California, the Promised Land. Route 66 is widely talked about among thousands of motorists who drove west in subsequent decades as the nation's first all-weather highway that reduced the distance between Chicago and Los Angeles by more than 200 miles. Can people still travel it? Can people still drive through the Route 66? How close can you get to the original road? This is a valid question, especially when people are considering their road trip. While it's absolutely true that you can no longer drive Route 66 from end to end uninterrupted, approximately 85% of the route remains paved and drivable. Route 66 should not be mistaken for a simple linear journey, since it has existed in many different alignments over the years, and so there's no single way of making this trip. These different alignments in the route is as a result of the way it developed over time. In 1985, Route 66 was decommissioned. Although some sections were abandoned, some parts of the road were repurposed. In many of the cities, the old route was turned into the business loop for the interstate. Also note that in those early years, the original alignment underwent changes to improve the road and make it safer, and so travelers may find themselves periodically presented with choices between paved sections or more rugged dirt sections. What are the things to see during the trip? The Buckingham Foundation in Chicago is the reference point for many travelers to start the route, and it has become a symbol. In the city of Joliet, it is possible to visit the Route 66 circuit, and in Pontiac, there is a museum dedicated to this road and a large number of murals. In Springfield, Illinois, there are also travel-related museums and a number of legendary roadside restaurants. The chain of Rocks Bridge in St. Louis is also one of the most visited points during the trip. The route continues through the Springfield of Missouri, Claremore, and Weatherford, arriving until Amarillo in Texas, where the Cadillac Ranch work was created by local artists with 10 Cadillacs embedded in the sand and decorated with graffiti. After passing the state of New Mexico, you arrive in Arizona, and from the town of Williams, it is possible to get to know the Grand Canyon of the Colorado. Although the truth is that the historic route goes to the city of Kingman, with a large number of places that maintain its essence: restaurants, bars, gas stations, traffic signs, and many others. The final point is marked by the state of California in two key cities: Barstow and its museum dedicated to the route, and Los Angeles, where it all ends at the Santa Monica Pier. When is the appropriate time to travel? The best times of the year to do this trip are spring and fall to avoid extreme temperatures. You can use any type of car or motorcycle, but nothing is like doing it in a Cadillac, a Mustang, or on the back of a Harley. You know, just to spice up your journey to maximize all the fun it affords. Why should you try to make a trip along its trail? Ever been to the Lincoln Park, the Cadillac Ranch? Well, this is exactly why you should try to make a trip along the trail of Route 66. We will share with you the best of the extraordinary places that you shouldn't miss if you do Route 66. Lincoln Park in Springfield, Illinois. The first place you shouldn't miss if you pass through the Route 66 is the Lincoln Park. Although it is not a place that is usually recommended when we talk about Route 66, Lincoln Park is a place that is loved and that we believe is essential to learn more about American history. This park is dedicated to Abraham Lincoln, undoubtedly the most illustrious citizen of the city and one of the most important presidents of the United States. And in it is his tomb, which can be visited for free. Riverton, Kansas. Route 66 passes through Kansas, though only for about 13 miles. But during those few kilometers, you get to visit places like Riverton, in which there are several attractions dedicated to Route 66 that deserve a short stop. We loved the sign dedicated to the route, trucks painted like Matt from the movie Cars, and the posters dedicated to one of the symbols of Kansas, the Wizard of Oz. Ed Galloway's Tote Pole Park in Chelsea. One of the classics of Route 66 is the Tote Pole Park, a park full of colorful totems that can be visited for free to learn more about its history. A really curious place and another one of the places that you cannot miss if you do Route 66. Oklahoma City Memorial in Oklahoma. The memorial commemorates the 168 victims of the 1995 Oklahoma attack, which was the largest terrorist attack in the United States until September 11, 2001. The place is a haven of peace in which to discover more about that tragic incident so little known outside the American borders. Elk City, Oklahoma open-air museums. In the city of Elk City, there are several open-air museums that are worth a visit. In a few meters, you will find the City Museum, Old Town Museum, the Route 66 Museum, the Transport Museum, and the Cattle Trail. It is well worth spending a couple of hours in this zone. The Cadillac Ranch in Amarillo, Texas. If there's a typical place on Route 66, it is the Cadillac Ranch, without a doubt the most essential on the route. Seeing the half-buried Cadillacs painted with the colors of thousands of graffiti from its visitors is one of the greatest curiosities of the tour. This is an amazing place and you will not regret visiting. No jokes. Gallup, New Mexico. Gallup has very little to do with Route 66, that's true, but it is a really curious place on the route because the city is located in the heart of the Indian country, and the majority of its population are native Indians. Gallup borders the Navajo Reservation, and you will find things like a curious Indian casino there. Petrified Forest National Park in Arizona. This park stands out for being an ancient forest in which the trees have ended up petrifying after the passage of thousands of years. But the park is not only petrified trees. You can see amazing landscapes during the 3 or 4 hours that it takes you to cross it from end to end. Santa Monica Pier, California. So, this iconic place made the list because it is the end of Route 66, and it is a classic within Californian culture. It is absolutely essential that you take a walk along the mythical Santa Monica Pier. We recommend that you try to arrive before sunset, talk to the friendly owner of the merchandising stand dedicated to Route 66 at the beginning of it, and spend some time there having dinner at one of the restaurants from the area because it is another one of those places that you cannot miss if you do Route 66. Still doubting if you should trail the Route 66? Have you been to all the places mentioned in the just concluded must-visit places? There you go! As you can see, there are a lot of places in Route 66 that catch your fancy. So make the decision to embark on this journey, but don't forget to have some fun. We have come to the end of today's episode. Kindly like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Then turn on your post notification. Stay safe. Bye.